Welcome to the One Player Podcast, the show on solitaire board games. I'm Albert, and this is episode 367.
There shall be a reckoning upon your game.
That sounds ominous, Julius. I'm worried now.
Um,
Should I protect my
yes.
game? Okay.
I then also have to actively be like, okay, turn off the strange voice.
That's funny. Well, welcome everyone to another episode. This week we're talking about a game I'd never heard of before, but sounds interesting.
You've
Welcome
never heard of Welcome to Reckoning?
to Reckoning. No, I've never heard of that one. Nope, not once.
Well, to be very clear, Welcome to Reckoning is not a Welcome to variant. It is a game all by itself. It is a small solo-only crisis management card game.
Okay. Yeah, when I saw the title, I said, "Is that another Welcome to game?" But maybe it's a cowboy setting. So I was half right. That's something.
The cowboy setting is accurate, but it is not a Welcome to, even though they called it Welcome to, and I'm not sure why they did that. But
because they can.
Because they can.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's not a Welcome to game because that's a flipping right, isn't it? So
that is.
Yeah,
we've had to include a different episode, but it is Welcome to Reckoning.
Okay.
Are you ready to jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Welcome to Reckoning is a very small packaged game. It's essentially the size of a little deck box. Would easily fit in your pocket. Does not have a whole lot of components. Comes with like 50 or so cards. Essentially one deck of cards. And everything that you use is tracked via the cards. So you've got tracking cards for your health and your willpower. You've got tracking cards for dust. You've got some cards that represent the locations in the town of Reckoning you go to. And then the most important part, the event deck, consisting of all the events that are going to come out that you, as your character, and your character is represented by a card instead of Meeple or something like that, your character is going to move down that event row and do various things. So everything is played and set up just in a couple, in some stacks of cards. Honestly, you can fit it on a tiny little lap table if you wanted to. You can play this like on a lap desk on the couch if you wanted.
Okay. Is this game brand new?
I don't know what you mean by brand new. It launched Kickstarter September 2023.
Okay. It's just on BGG, I only see like one page of images, not very much at all.
I don't think that it was a huge launch. There were not a lot of people who backed the game, but a lot of people who got the game. On Kickstarter, it did get 838 backers.
Okay.
So not a huge release. I will say that even today, you can pick up a black and white print and play for free if you wanted to print and play your own copy of the game without spending a dime. You can buy for $4 a color print and play copy with everything from the actual game, or you can just buy an actual copy of the game.
But it's just a deck of cards, so it's probably not. It's probably what, like $15 or something, I'm guessing.
Depends on where it is that you get it or how it is that you find it, but yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, that's cool. That sounds interesting. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, so it's a small game, and it's an inexpensive, small, little, tiny game. So that is Welcome to Reckoning. Now, we were talking about some of the components. I started talking about them. I want to comment on some of the... Well, actually, you know what? My comments on the components are going to have to come to later. The art on the components is very nice. The text on the text on the cards is very nice. It's all very easily and very visible. Some of the things I don't like about it are, one, the wagon is a very important thing in comparison to everything else, and yet it has the same style of it. Normally, I'm a fan of things that are different should look different. It shouldn't match the same style as all the other ones, but it essentially does match the same style of having art on the top bit, text on the bottom bit, as if it's the same as all the other ones. But it is what it is. You make do. It's close enough. The other text, the icons, I don't really have any issues with it. The tracker cards, I mean, you spin a card around to be able to track stuff instead of,
Mm-hmm.
cubes on a board going up and down or tokens. I would certainly have preferred if the game had been a game with tokens for health and for health and willpower. I would have preferred tokens instead of card, but that there's a lot of extra cost for that. There is one element though that really annoys me that I really feel is a huge oversight on their part. You have a bunch of cards for dust. Now, the idea of this game is that this is Eldritch Wild Wild West. So
Mm-hmm.
there's monsters coming out and it's taxing your sanity and you have to deal with the monsters, but you can sort of take on a bit of the mythos of the magic by using this dust stuff. And the dust is a pile of cards with these they kind of look like d20s,
Oh
but
yeah.
there's a pile of d20s printed on cards and you take those. Now, dust can become corrupted over the course of the game. Various things will corrupt your dust. The way you track corrupted dust is you put dust below the health and willpower area instead of above your health and up willpower area. And that corrupted dust can kill you if it's in excess of your willpower. But the two sides of the dust cards both are identical. So if you don't realize or if you don't remember that, hey, the pile here is my corrupted dust, and the pile here is the actual dust, and the pile here is all the dust that hasn't been doing anything else, you're not going to remember it. It would have been really, really great if the back side of those dust cards were a corrupted dust. Even if it were, instead of having it be a green ball, have it have a slightly menacing red hue with some cracks,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some red glow coming around it. Like there could have just been even a simple color scheme style change so that when you flip it over, there's your corruption pile right there, and that's your corrupted dust. I really feel like would have been not just cool, but also much more usable and much more user friendly for me, because I will admit, if I don't sit down to a whole game and I don't remember which pile is my dust and which is my corruption, I forget. I shouldn't have to remember that. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you know what else is annoying? While you've been talking, I've been trying to find this game online to see how much it actually costs and where to buy it, and I cannot find where to buy it.
Oh, you can only if unless you're buying on the secondhand market. Well, let me say this one. Unless you're buying on the secondhand market right now, you cannot buy a brand new copy of it, right?
Okay.
Because it's already out of print. But they did another Welcome to Reckoning solo month of the year thing, whatever it is, solo month.
Oh, okay.
I'd
Yeah.
have to go look up solo game of the month. That's what I'm talking about. So the solo game of the month people released Welcome to Reckoning together with some other stuff, and it happens to be that they're redoing Welcome to Reckoning. Now that copy is going to be in my opinion, annoying plastic VCR box, and they're going to
Oh.
be including it together with Harsh Shadows. So I really don't like the box that it's going to be put in. The one I have is a nice, sturdy card deck box. So I think
Okay.
it's going to be a much better version of the game. But it will at least be available. So the double feature, if you want to, back it and get in on that now, you could go for the 25. My recommendation would be get it secondhand from some other places and get the nice single
Yeah.
version with a
But
nicer
there's going to be
box.
so many of those. Yeah. So okay, maybe he'll do it. Well, anyway, follow, email the guy, tell him you'd like to get it, but don't want to get that solo version. See what can happen.
Yeah, it may very well happen. I don't know. Um, or just express your dislike of those plastic boxes. maybe maybe the Gabe Barrett, because I'll tell you, I've liked another things that Gabe Barrett's been doing. This is a total tangent. I've liked a number of the things that Gabe Barrett's been doing. Like Dyson Crusoe is another one that's on the list of stuff of his that I would like to review. But those plastic boxes, ugh.
Mm. Yeah. Down with plastic. But I'd rather have cardboard.
Anyway, that was a tangent.
Yeah, it was, but an important one.
So I think I've covered everything from the components that I like and dislike. Again, I think the art is nice. The cards are all nice. They're all very clear. Just that corrupted dust is annoying, and I wish that were a thing they'd fix.
Okay. One question about the components. Does it include a standard deck of cards in it? Can you play like poker with it? Or is it missing cards? Because I see that they're numbered. They have suits like 2 of diamonds and 3 of hearts and that sort of thing. So is it a 54 card deck?
It is only 30. It is a 36 card deck.
Okay.
And I'd have to look through and see which ones are not there. So it's not a full poker deck, but I'm not sure which ones are not there. Yes, you've rightly keyed in that the event deck has cards that are numbered like a poker deck, and that is a part
Mm-hmm.
of the mechanic of the game, is messing around with some of that. But I don't know which ones are missing.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. So if you wanted to print and play your own copy, you could start with getting a deck of playing cards and a Sharpie and writing on them. That might even work. Anyway, I keep giving you tangents, Julius. Is that kind of night?
Yeah, so it's 2 through 9 of the 4, it looks like.
Okay. 2 through 9.
Mm,
And I did see a queen in there, I thought, in one of the pictures.
no.
It looked like there's a queen on BGG. Where did it
No,
go?
not as I'm looking through the deck.
Okay, I believe you. It's just there's one that. Oh, it isn't a queen. It's just some shape that I thought was a Q. That's what it is. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
So, yeah, 2 through 9 of each of them. So that's total 36. So, nonetheless, onwards into theme. Are you ready for this one, Albert?
I'm ready. Yeah. Looks really thematic.
Yeah, it actually is pretty thematic.
Oh,
Actually, I
okay.
actually really enjoy the theme of it. Um, I had originally been interested in it because I thought the idea of a eldritch cowboy mix up was a really neat idea. I was a little surprised that there hasn't been more eldritch cowboy stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, that's actually that's actually a really cool theme. It works perfectly well. You've got the, as mentioned, you've got the poker cards that tie into various things. You've got the danger that everything is constantly just going bad. You've got stuff that looks very um, I don't know, eldritch cowboy themed. It looks really well on it. The art is all spot on. It all adds to the flavor of it all. Yeah, it's spot on. It's very good for matching the theme, and it evokes that theme really well.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I like that. You're right. There aren't enough of those like weird West type games. There's a few out there, but not too many. I know
Yeah,
Flying Frog makes that really big one with the miniatures.
yeah.
I forget what it's called. I've never played that one. Oh, so yeah. Anyway, don't fall for my tangent, Julius.
So I'm not. So let's
Okay.
move on to the rules.
Okay.
So yes, Albert, about the rules. It is a tiny little rules sheet, and it is perfectly sufficient for what it is that it needs to do. It explains about how you move stuff, how you get everything. I will say, probably having everything I mean, almost everything is summarized on a small little card that is a memory refresher for everything it is that you can do. That card
Hmm.
is just perfect for being able to refresh your memory about how it is that the game is played, what it is that you do. So works really good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up for the rules.
Cool. Okay.
So, moving on to gameplay. You ready for this?
Yep.
So, the idea of the gameplay is you essentially you've set up where you have your 4 locations that are out. And each of your locations are theoretically going to be there to give you some special bonuses if you manage to go and visit any of those locations and do anything from the locations. Essentially, having a location means that any of your cards can be a wild card to do those location things. Those location things can give you extra health, can give you extra willpower, can let you to move cards around or fix your deck, all sorts of things. Now, over time, some of those things could light on fire. You may lose those, or there may be tentacles at locations, or there may be evil riders coming out of the row, etc. You'll set up your event row of 5 cards each. You'll take your character card and you'll move down the row and resolve each of them. The goal is to try and minimize the amount of losses that you have from those or fix all of those as much as you can. Some of them are going to, some of them are going to be putting out tentacles, that the tentacles will block up other locations. Some of them are going to be forcing you to lose health or break other. I mean, there's not a whole lot of levers that the game is necessarily pushing, which is why I sort of am repeating a little bit of it. But yes, it's
Hmm.
essentially they're going to be making you lose dust, corrupt dust, discard cards, lose cards from hand, uh, all sorts of different resources that you'll have to lose. Now, each of those cards has both a you get to do a thing and they get to do a thing. So you may be able to skip around cards or move other cards around. So one card may fix another card. So if you can rearrange the row, you can do a card and then have another card immediately fix it. So like it may give you some dust or may give you an extra card to let you heal things or to put out some tentacles or what have you. All sorts of different solutions might present themselves. So you're trying to move down that line and resolve those effects in such a way that you can fix it as best as you can. At one point in time, the wagon card is going to come up. When the wagon card comes up, um, you essentially you've been through the deck once, and your goal is to finish the game before you get all the way through the deck. In order to win the game, once the wagon comes out, you have to make sure that the wagon is at the warehouse, have to make sure that there's no tentacles or fire at the warehouse, and you have to have curated your hand. So over time you're going to be taking in those cards into your hand. You have to have curated your hands that you have a 4 of a kind. So each of
Oh, okay.
those event cards will have a number on them corresponding to an actual card. So like 4 of clubs, 4 of spades. Like you need to have the 4 of a kind, all of those different ones to be able to do that. If you have all of those, if you both have the wagon there, that warehouse is safe, and you have a 4 of a kind, you can then go visit the warehouse, which again is one of those just wild actions you can do. So you go visit the warehouse and you win the game. You can lose the game either if you run out of health, if you have more corruption. So again, many of the times you're going to be using dust, and when you use dust, it turns into corruption. If your corruption is more than your willpower, then you die from losing willpower. You die from
Mm.
dust. Or if you run through the whole deck and you don't manage to succeed in all the things, then you also lose. Okay.
For example, you get to the end and you just don't have four of a kind.
Yeah, if you get to the end, I mean, theoretically, you want to avoid doing that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So you want to avoid having that, but that is the total of the game. The game can either be made a little bit harder or a little bit easier by increasing the amount of health that you have. I I, I think I've only ever really played it on standard, because either I win or I lose, and it's just sort of, I don't know. There's a fair amount of randomness that comes from the game. It's not one of those ones that hugely rewards really good plays. I can see some of the plays, the push and pull that you have from a single card that has 2 effects on it that essentially does a good thing and a bad thing. And so
Hmm.
you want to try and move things around to make sure that things work right, and so that everything moves where it is that you want it to move. So you have all of those abilities to move stuff around and to use whatever your character ability is. But I've never felt like, hey, I'm breezing through this, or oh, it's super difficult and I just can really use that extra health. Most of the time when I'm losing, I'm honestly losing because of dust, because I've wanted to, I guess do cooler things to be able to do that, because dust is what lets you power taking actual actions. And I tend when I'm playing the game to sort of play on the hoary edge of danger,
Mm-hmm.
of using
Fun.
dust to fix things, and then suddenly realizing, oh, I need to have a lot less dust in my corruption pile because that'd be bad.
Oops, but it's also fun.
Yeah, it's fun because it lets you, that's what lets you do stuff. The game is supposed to be, it is a threat management game. If you're not playing with the threats, everything like dust, your dust limits is supposed to be a resource. Your health, your sanity, it's supposed to be a resource. I think if you're not playing with those things as a resource, if you're trying to be too safe, you won't manage your threat well enough to be able to
Mm-hmm.
succeed and get your way through all of the issues and be able to win the game. So you have to play with these things on the edge. You have to play and make sure that, danger abounds. If you're not, you're not. If you're not, you're not winning.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It sounds fun. I like the idea of flowing through those events in order and being able to see what's coming up to mitigate it and change the cards around. Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and most of the character cards, so, and you have a lot of stuff you can mess around with to be able to have things work. So for instance, like the main guy I use, which is, there's a guy, there's a girl. So like the main guy, once per round you get the ability to just ignore a card. So there's a lot of decisions. Well, which of these 5 ones do I want to ignore? And that will already start cascading into other decisions about, well, if I ignore this one, then I have to do these. When do things go along? There's not a whole lot of randomness once everything's on the table. You understand it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's not like you have to plan it all out and then roll a die and then see if you win. Just everything's on the table. Figure it out.
I like that. That sounds fun. That sounds pretty cool. The art, I like the art, and it looks very thematic and evocative. And like once in a while, you see tentacles here and there. A lot of the cars just look like regular old cowboy things, and here and there, there's like a person with a pickaxe and some sort of creepy tentacled thing.
Yeah.
Um, is is there much um weird art in it, or is it mostly just cowboyish?
It well, it is the back of every card does have like tentacles stuff on the
Yeah.
back of them,
Yep. Which
um,
is interesting.
which is interesting. The
Well,
town,
one thing
well,
I find
I've
one thing about that is that the back looks like it's double sided, so you could flip the card over either way and it's still right. But when you flip over to the front, they're definitely not double sided. So
well, that's
it's an
actually a
interesting choice.
publisher's trick. Publishers
Ah,
often
okay,
want to have card backs be flippable so that it doesn't matter which way it was oriented
right.
when it was being printed. So you'll often see that.
Ah, for publishing sake, not for usability sake. That's interesting.
No,
I'd
it's
never heard of that.
entirely for publishing.
Okay, I can see that. Though it
So
won't work because then you still got to arrange them later. So didn't buy you anything. You still gonna have to look at the other side and arrange them face up when you put them in the box.
yeah.
But anyway,
So although some of the cards, are normal, I think probably the most normal ones are just the Raiders. So the Raiders are, they're normal, but the idea of them is like they have relatively ominous names, and the suggestion is almost that they have the same sort of mystic powers that you have to be able to light fires or
yep.
blast you with dust or things like that. So the art, well, as a note, the art does repeat. So you'll see the same type of art between various different things, but there's a lot of
Oh
there's,
yeah.
there's a lot of tentacles in the game. You're constantly seeing tentacles coming out.
Okay. And
So
the art doesn't repeat by suits either, right? The two of clubs has the tentacle picture and the 10 of clubs has it. But then when I look at the other cards, the 9 of clubs doesn't. So it's not even based on that. It's And then here's another one where it's a heart and a diamond both have the same windmill picture. So yeah, that's weird how it repeats inconsistently.
I think it's what, like 7 or 8 pieces of art. I'd have to count it.
Ah, okay,
But
so I've probably seen them all.
yeah. Yeah, so the art it definitely feels eldritchy, even though the on the occasion it's just, a random person. Perhaps it would have been better if the main character had more eldritch to him, because the main character is either a guy or a girl with a gun.
Yeah.
And they don't cast spells, even though the idea is that you have a gun and you cast spells. The main character art does not have a guy who is doing both of those things. And while it might have been nice if there was some eldritchiness to your main character, I've never not noticed the eldritchiness to it.
Okay. Okay, so it comes out in the theme, even if not all the art has it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got the dust also, which is already kind of weird. So yeah, that's gonna just add to it.
Yeah, almost all the art has it. But yes, it is a very good mashup between those two genres. And I think that the gameplay elements bring it out that make it into a interesting threat management game. I don't think it's a very deep threat management game. It's relatively simple. I would say the weight is it's not very light. It's pretty light, but it's smooth, it's relaxing, it's not super complicated. It is designed to fit on a small little card table and relax on the couch with, and that's it. I really enjoy that.
Is it like a 20-minute game, something like that? That's what it seems
Yeah,
like.
something like that.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That sounds like a decent game. Nice little find there.
I would say so.
Shame
I
you
I
can't find it anywhere.
What do you mean you can't find it anywhere? We just talked about places where you can get it.
Eventually, yes, I know. Secondhand market.
There's secondhand. It's literally available right now on the secondhand market, and you can literally go back it right now, and you'll get it in 3 months or something like that. Or you
Okay.
could just print your own copy. It's 4 pages to print your own copy.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the copy that's on BGG, a Noble Knight
12.
Games, and it'll be gone. 12?
12.
12 what?
12. It's 12 pages. It's 12
Oh,
pages if you want to print your own copy.
oh, okay. That's not too bad. It's on Noble Knight. Noble Knight Games has a copy for $30. Wow,
Well, there you
they're
go.
so expensive. They,
That's like
they
twice what I
tend
paid
to
for it.
their prices are expensive for hard. Is it because you paid shipping and all that? Well, you're a backer. You're a founder.
I found it. Yeah, I did back it. I did back
Yeah,
it originally. But yeah, that is Welcome to Reckoning. Hopefully, we have reckoned our way through it.
I think so, Julius. That sounds great. Nothing. I got nothing. Yeah, thanks.
Albert's gunslinging days are done.
They're done. Yeah, just in the dust.
I was ready to retire at the old saloon.
Yep. Brush that dust
Cozy
off
up
my
with a
boots.
nice ale.
Okay.
Alrighty, have a great night, everyone.
All right. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. We love feedback, so we love hearing from you. You can reach me at julius@oneplayerpodcast.com or JLBird on BGG, and Albert can be reached at albert@oneplayerpodcast.com or Fractaloon on BGG. Our website is oneplayerpodcast.com with the number 1, and we're also on Twitter at oneplayerpodcast. The intro music is copyright Angus, can be found at jamendo.com. The transition music is copyright by Dan Elduce Pancaldi, whose page is at donpancaldi.com. The One Player Podcast is protected under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Thanks for listening.